It's Fernando Ruiz art.
There we go.
Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in. So today we're going to draw one of my favorite characters, not just one of my favorites to draw, but one of my favorite characters to read about, and that is Spider-Man. And this month over at the Kubert School, where I teach, I've been teaching there 25 years, and I'm also a graduate of the Kubert School. I've given my students, my first year narrative students, many of whom are probably watching this. If not, they should be. Extra credit if they're watching. Congratulations, guys. But this month, I've given my students a Spider-Man script to work from. Actually, they're working in the classic Marvel method manner, which means they don't have a full script, but rather a plot. So since they all have to draw Spider-Man, I thought it might be valuable just to give a few tips on how I draw Spidey. And as I said, he was one of my favorite characters ever since I was a kid, watching the old 1967 cartoon, which I saw in reruns during the 70s and 80s, not first run in 67. But later, reading the comic books too, yeah, Spidey became a favorite. So the way I start drawing him is I like to start out with an oval, just a basic upside down egg for the shape, a little bit wider towards the top, a little bit narrower towards the bottom where his chin will be. I'm just gonna sketch in a neck here. Going a little darker than I normally would, just for the sake of the video, just so that everybody can see what I'm doing. Normally, if I were drawing this for myself or you know, for a non-video purposes, I'd be sketching this a whole lot lighter because these lines would just be for me. But once I have the oval down like this, and I'm drawing Spidey straight on. If I were to draw him in profile, I'd probably start out with a bit of an oval, and then maybe suggest a nose coming down to a chin and a jawline, and then the rest is all cranium. That's the beauty of Spidey. People have a love-hate relationship with that mask, because on the one end, the mask simplifies things, but then, as we'll see, we have the webbing to play with. Okay, now one of the trickiest things about Spidey are the eyes. I am not a fan of big, giant eyes, these big, giant Deadpool things. I don't dig that. I like the classic John Romita style eyes. I think he drew the best Spider-Man eyes. So what I like to do is I usually start out with the white of the eyes. Not too big. Kind of an exaggerated eye shape, really. There was always something kind of scary, a little frowning about Spidey's eyes for such a happy-go-lucky character, a wise guy. He always had these kind of intense eyes, made intense by the kind of angle, you know, this downward angle towards the top. But this is how I draw his eyes, or at least the white part of his eyes. Okay. Then the black part of his eyes, which surround the eyes, I like to go a little heavy with those, a little thick with those. Probably thicker towards the top. And then a little thinner towards the bottom. Like so. So really, if we could magnify what I'm doing with the eyes over here, I'm going kind of across, almost straight. Straight but tilted a little bit, and then kind of semicircular underneath. And then go in with the black around and coming up to that pointed corner. And that's really a magnification of Spidey's eyes. That's what I'm trying to do here. Getting a little heavy, so I'll just clean that up. Let's focus here. From the profile, pretty much the same thing, really. Maybe just a little bit sharper. Again, I don't like to go too big. Then add in the black. Maybe bring that up a little bit more. It's almost like the white part is really just like a normal eye, but we are just exaggerating it, just pushing it more. One modern little thing that I do like to bring into my Spider-Man, it's kind of indicating this little bit of a reflection into the black, this little bit of a highlight. I have done that on a couple of my Spidey drawings, especially, looks okay, especially when you, if you're coloring with markers, Copics, and you color that highlight with a little bit of a blue. Looks really subtle and can give the eye a little bit of an added dimension. But I can understand John Romita Jr., Senior, purist, not going for it. I totally dig you. I totally get where you're coming from. From the side, just doing a little of that, filling that in. I never liked the big giant eyes because it really just makes him too much of a cartoon to me. It takes away some of the seriousness of Spidey. Makes him look very goofy and overly humorous. I know the McFarlane fans out there are going to take issue with this, but that's just my personal preference. So those are the eyes. Now, one of the trickiest things about Spidey is shading in that eye. The webbing that goes over the mask and really throughout the red portions of Spidey's costume. Keep in mind that the webbing all originates from right here, right between the eyes. Some people say the nose, but when you figure the nose underneath the mask is probably around here, I like to bring it all to a head right there. So what I'm going to do is initially, I'm going to split the head down the middle like that. When we come to that bridge of the nose, I'm going to go, well, maybe not that far, but I'm going to go to the side and then to the side. And then to the side, a little bit under here, a little bit there, then to the side, one more, and one more. Now, some people draw a tight webbing configuration. I'm not opposed to that. Steve Ditko used to draw really fine webbing, really fine tight web across Spidey's costume. But then if you look at those early Spider-Man issues, the webbing grows. I think he caught on that it's kind of a pain to draw that tight webbing panel after panel. So, and certainly when Romita comes on Spider-Man, you really see the webbing expand a lot. So notice the webbing, it's radiating from right between the eyes. It's all peering outward. And the webbing's going to run down. And as I do it, it's all pouring away from that between the eyes section. So even this, the scalloped line, as it moves away from the body, and sometimes you got to make it conform to the contour of the body, whatever's going on there. But that's largely how I would do it. From the side, well, we have to take a few more liberties because it's not as easy as doing it from the front. But it still goes down his body, and we still get that scalloping. The Just moving it along. You don't want it to get too sloppy. Keep it neat. I'm just moving it along just for the purposes of brevity, just to let you guys see it get done. So we're just following it away from the nose throughout Spidey's mask. So that's pretty much it for Spidey's head. Don't really indicate ears. That always tends to look kind of funny on Spider-Man. Maybe ears there. I don't indicate a nose either, because that tends to look a little bit weird too on Spidey. Spidey is Spidey, so the mask transforms him, and we just accept that. We don't overly noodle him or overly try to explain it. So that's my Spider-Man. I hope this helps for you Spider fans out there. I hope my students, if you're watching, and you better be, I hope you guys get something out of it. Getting a little shading here. Sometimes I like this little reflective sort of shading. And I go in with my eraser and give it a little bit of a highlight. Sometimes that could look cool too, a little more 3D. But in comics, we don't always have the opportunity to shade like this. Okay, enough noodling from me. That's it. I hope you guys dig this. I hope it helps. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Please put them down in the comments section below. Please click like. Likes always help the channel. Shares, getting the word out always helps the channel too. Last time I checked, we were a few subscribers away from a nice landmark. So let's see if we could hit that. Okay, that's it for me. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Keep drawing. Keep drawing. And I'll see you in the next video. Okay? Bye-bye.